web development firm Hudson Horizons. I'd like to welcome Darryl Bryant, CEO of Hudson Horizons, and Matt Marinek, the Vice President of Technology. Thank you so much for joining us, both of you. Let's start with the competition in this business, because there are so many different web development firms out there. How do you compete?
It's tough. I mean, sometimes we submit a proposal and there's 40 other companies doing the same thing for that one website. But we stand out because there's a lot of design firms that started up 10 years ago, and they know how to make things look nice and pretty in terms of the design, but they don't understand actually how to code and build out the site. And that's what we specialize in. When we started the company 5 years ago, we set out there to build a development company that stayed on top of the game in terms of the internet because it's changing so fast, and we understand how to really build out a website.
So you started the company 5 years ago, and right before the show, you shared your what led you into this business and into the field. So you were both in the field prior to this. What happened? How did you hook up?
Sure. Well, back about 6 years ago, I was working for a software company. I was there for 2 years in Manhattan, and the internet bubble happened, and you know, unfortunately, I had to get laid off, and I just basically went on unemployment for 6 months. It was running out, and I said, I can't do this anymore. So I said, I'm just going to go out and start a web company. And about 6 months later, I met Matt.
When I graduated college, I was going for my MBA, and basically I was a freelance developer. I was working for some clients throughout New Jersey, and then me and Darryl met up and shared the same vision, and we partnered up together.
All right, so Matt, what are the do's and the don'ts when you talk about developing a web page, a website for a company?
Sure. The number one do is to think about the search engines, search engine optimization, SEO. What you have to do is you need a lot of content, and you need to structure your content correctly. You need to develop into a directory structure just so the search engines understand what your content's all about. The one don't that I do recommend is stay away from Flash. Sure, it's nice, it's pretty, it's animated, but the problem is there's no content on your page, so no one's going to ever be able to find your site.
Problem is, I think a lot of companies and a lot of people who are just starting out in business decide that they want, of course, the path of least resistance. They want to do what is the easiest, and creating a web page isn't always easy. So what do you need to do if you're thinking about creating a web page for your business or a small business or whatever your startup was, or even if you've been in business for years? What do you need to do when looking for a firm? You say, I'm not going to do this myself. There's no way I can build my own web page. So what's the first step you need to take when you think about who to choose?
Experience. Look at their past profiles. You know, what types of sites have they built? Do they do the work in-house, or do they outsource it? If it's a complex site, are they outsourcing the work overseas? So you just need to really research the companies and find out exactly, you know, what they do in-house, what they don't do, and just try to see some of their past work.
All right, you mentioned past work, so you have a number of companies as clients in the States, so can you just name a couple of them?
Sure.
For example, the Pet Set, they're an elegant stationery for pets. You know, greeting card, whole e-commerce system where customers can go online and purchase products. Another example would be Elegant Ensemble. They're a local New Jersey-based wedding performance. What they do is they basically have their bands online. You could see videos and images of all their bands. Another example would be
American Brass and Crystal. They're in Newark, and they sell high-end chandeliers. You know, very expensive chandeliers to you know, people looking for that type of stuff. So you can go online and look at all their types of products.
There are companies who charge astronomical fees for building websites, and one of the items on your website says that you managed to take a lot of the cost out of that. So how do you do that? How can you do that and stay competitive again? We're getting back to the whole competition issue.
Right. Well, I think that's an answer for Matt.
Basically, when we started, our whole goal was to be able to develop these systems fast and efficiently. Because the biggest thing with our industry is development. Everything is man hours. How many man hours does it take to create this or that? So what we did is we created an internal system that allowed us to cut down on man hours. By doing this, we can then pass the savings on to our customer. All
right, let's talk traffic, because traffic is key. You want to drive as much traffic to a site as possible. How do you do that?
Well, number one is the search engines. You know, terms like Matt said, search engine optimization. But, you know, back in the day, it was very easy to get on the first 2 pages of Google. All you had to do was update your title tags and update your meta tags inside the code, and boom, there you are. But now if you do a search for anything, there's millions of pages of content. So how do you compete with that? Well, number one, it's the code. And number two, it's linking. You know, Google and all the major search engines, they look at how many links are pointing back to your site. So you need to build a linking strategy campaign to really start to make that happen.
A few minutes ago we were talking about age, and age playing a factor in many different jobs and industries, and in yours as well. We're talking about the competitive nature. Do you think that your ages are an advantage for you at this point, maybe over people who started maybe in 2000?
Yes, I believe so. Because we kind of grew up with technology, so we kind of wrapped our business around the fact that we basically created what we were growing up with, is the internet. A lot of the design firms, graphic design firms, they haven't stayed on top of the technology, so a lot of them are either going out of business or having tough times.
Where do you see the net going in the future?
The big place that I see the net going is video. Video is going to be pretty much the future of the net. You've seen it already with YouTube, but I think more businesses are going to start adding video to their sites. They're going to start adding more webcasts, more streaming video, things where they can actually connect people and get their message across.
What do they need to do that, is the question. I mean, and how complicated is that?
Right now, we're at the beginning.